Hi, I'm Scott Zura. I've been with the Gas House Propane Company for over 45 years. As you know, over the past several years, the food truck and concession trailer has grown immensely, with many using propane as their fuel source. Propane is a safe and portable fuel if used correctly. We're going to go over some of the things that we look for when we're doing an inspection on your food truck. We're going to start with tank security. Okay, so one of the first things we look at when you pull in is, are the tanks mounted correctly and safely? They must be at least 30 inches off the ground. That's the minimum distance from the tank to the ground. This rule applies to food trucks and concession trailers. Keep in mind, a 100-pound cylinder averages about 170 pounds full of gas. That weight in that tank could double when you hit a bump. So we want to make sure that they're securely mounted. The ratchet straps are not a way to secure a tank. These rules apply from 20-pound cylinders to undermount tanks. When traveling, make sure to keep your supply valves closed. When you get your propane tanks filled, they get filled to 80%. So a 100-pound cylinder at 80% is 100 pounds of gas. They would probably hold 115 to 120 pounds if they are overfilled. So that's a great deal if you're the consumer paying for 100 pounds of fuel and getting 120 pounds. However, that tank is now overfilled. Imagine it's 30 degrees outside and your tank has been overfilled. Now it goes up to 65 degrees the next day. That gas has to expand from the heat. This will activate the safety relief valve. You do not want that to happen, especially if you're in there cooking. Next, we look at the cylinder condition. DOT cylinders are good for 12 years from the date of manufacture. They can then be recertified, if in good condition, for another 5 years. This cylinder was manufactured in March of 2022, so it's good for another 9 years. This cylinder expired in 2022. It'll have to be recertified. This cylinder expires in April of 2025. Then it will have to be recertified. Okay, next we're going to talk about regulators. These take tank pressure down to the working pressure of your appliances. All regulators should be mounted on the outside of the unit. Sometimes they are mounted on the inside, but they would have to be vented to the outside. All units must have a labeled emergency shutoff valve. This valve should be easily accessible for you to shut the gas off in an emergency. Almost all gas lines from the tank to the regulator are rubber hose. These hoses must be approved for the use with propane. No other hose can be used because this is a high pressure line coming from the tank to the regulator. This is something that came to us about 10 years ago for an inspection. These are yellow corrugated flex lines. These are something you would use in your home connecting your appliance. To the right of that top regulator, you could see the line that's going over to a 100-pound cylinder on the other side of the truck. Then to the left side of the regulator, you have high pressure feeding that regulator with one of these low pressure yellow flex lines. Then coming out of the bottom of that regulator, it's feeding 2 more regulators. So all said and done, we did educate this truck builder on the propane regulators and gas lines. All that was needed was one twin stage regulator for all the appliances in the truck. This is why you have qualified people building your truck. We're happy to answer any questions that they have while the truck is under construction. Okay, let's go inside the truck now. Here we have a 2-burner griddle, 4-burner charbroil, and a 4-burner stovetop with 3 deep fryers. You'll typically have an instantaneous water heater in these trucks and concession trailers also. Many have food warmers, or they call it sometimes steam tables. Many of these appliances have standing pilots, which means you have a pilot you light and the pilot lights the burner. Standing pilots are also used on the griddles and the stovetops. Other appliances like deep fryers have what they call safety pilots. This just means the burner will not come on until it senses a pilot. We make sure all the standing pilots are closed on the appliances, only because, like I said earlier, they're made to sit in a restaurant 24/7, not in a food truck. These open pilots could easily fill your unit up with gas. This is why we keep them closed. Turning these screws clockwise will close your pilots. You will need to light your appliances with a lighter. Always have the flame at the burner before you turn the control on. This goes for any appliance that has a standing pilot. Each appliance must have its own shutoff valve. This is in case you suspect a leak, you can isolate that appliance. Also, you must use heavy-duty connectors. Those yellow flex corrugated lines that you use inside the house are not acceptable. Any outlet on your piping that's not being used should have a shutoff valve on it with a cap or a plug. Make sure you know your operating procedures on all your appliances. Okay, that concludes our basic safety training video. There's other things we'll probably go over with you. Every unit is unique. We test the piping up to and including the controls. Good luck passing your inspection. Thanks for watching the video.